mental blow of almost getting there, and then they don't, and that means that another half a year they need to wait before they can try their hand again at getting to Challenger. That gets frustrating, so they need to make sure that they have the separation. Enough about that. Champ Select
very
is
cool
rolling.
topic though, but yeah, so let's get into this first Champion Select of the day. Aurelion Sol actually banned out. We've been seeing a bit of him over the world over the last couple of days. Swain, Irelia going to be the last two bans from Team Forge, and then Trundle, and then of course like the normal bans on Red side coming with Vlad and Rise.
Yeah, Irelia has seen a surge in power, really, especially even in the solo queue environment. Very lane dominant pick. Not a surprise that it is banned after all against Wicked. Wicked's secondary champion recently, which he played a lot of games on, has been Swain too. So those are two target bans. It does seem that Caps doesn't get the Aurelion Sol. Not sure how good he is on that champion. But yeah, very stable bans here. 3 top tier top laners kind of banned out. So we need to see if these guys can already adapt, because champion pool has been an issue in the past for Wicked.
It has, but first pick of Karma, which is very interesting with Team Forge, because I know Iker was a big Karma player back before he joined Challenger. Hiva was also a big Karma player even before that in support role, so very easy. Could be a flex here coming in for Team Forge.
It is definitely a flex, and that's also the value of this Karma pick in general. It is slightly more tilted towards the support role right now, because she offers everything you need. She secures you the laning phase in the sense that you won't get out laned too hard by any range support.
Sure.
And she has really good mid-game like utility for the team, which means you can start contesting these objectives, because she has movement speed steroids, and while you don't really see it, it definitely influences just so many like kind of altercations, skirmishes, and she's pretty strong and self-sustainable in lane 2. You know, Mantra W can keep you alive.
Well, there's the Azir coming up, but also Hecarim actually coming back here, so we'll see which role that will go into, whether it will be jungle, top lane. Judging from summoners, I would assume jungle, but they can swap that at any time.
We've seen plenty of Hecarim jungle being played, and it's just a nasty pick if it starts snowballing, because the base damages combined with him just building very tanky just add up, and then it's a very big nuisance to deal with. Hecarim from behind, however, is such an easy champion to deal with, so Nerv here definitely looking for some snowball early on.
Yeah, we've seen so many Hecarims back when he was played more. The last time we saw him just like jump in with just Triforce and just insta-pop and like land his ult and that's it. So we'll see how that one works out as we get into this game. Waiting on the next two pickups from Team Forge. I believe they've locked in the Varus there and the Elise. Okay, so that'll be going into the mid lane most likely, so we'll have the Karma go down into the bot lane now. Varus
comes out early because we saw the Azir on first rotation, and as the Varus generally has been a counter pick to the Azir, mostly due to the range advantage. You can outpoke him, and later on you can also just start sieging up. Look at this combination that they've drafted together. Karma, Varus, Elise, already really good poke siege comp as a foundation. It can still pivot into more of a pick comp, you know, if it turns out that the team fight that Nerv can hard engage on, if that becomes too hard for you to deal with, you need to be careful. But we could definitely see another long range champion here. Think of maybe a Jhin, risky into the Hecarim, but maybe just an Ezreal here, and then you have a nice poke comp on the side of Team Forge.
It's actually cool to see Team Forge going for a more pokey composition, because usually they just run like a run at you composition and just like hope for the best. So kind of looking for something a little bit different. Maybe that's what Iker's bringing out here for Jizuke. But Jizuke was doing actually fantastic in the mid lane anyway, so we'll see if that actually works out for them. Bard has been picked up here by Nerv, along with the Ezreal. Just seen a whole lot of Ezreal Bard like all over the place, really.
Yeah, really self-sustaining lane. It's almost impossible to lose it. You can maybe not very hard, but you always have max range keys from Ezreal. You have the relics from Bard to keep you alive. Then you can roam, get more chimes, come back, and Ezreal really won't get engaged upon because he's very self-sustaining as a pick on its own, regardless of the support. Looking at here at the composition that Nerv have drafted together, engage will be tricky. Yes, they have plenty of CC that they can make useful in a fight, but I think Temper Fate will be the key spell to watch in these fights, because if that doesn't stick, everything else is kind of dodgeable. Hecarim charging up, telegraphed, Azir going in, very flashable, so need to see whether Nukes can pull out the Bard and can get the Tempered Fate to stick.
I mean, last split we were very impressed by what Nukes a lot pulled out. In fact, he played a lot of Trundle. In fact, that's all he played for like the first 2-3 weeks. So
I had the BM 2v1 kill or 2v3 exchange somewhere. Yeah, I remember that.
It was good. So yeah, excited to see him bring out the Bard today. I'm waiting on the next two pickups. Oh, there's a bit locked in actually. So Vel'Koz coming out.
Vel'Koz coming out, rounding out the poke comp. So this is Vel'Koz mid, Varus bot lane. So it'll be Varus AD carry, and a Gragas in the top lane. Gragas has seen some play here. A flex pick. When the standard picks kind of get banned out, Gragas goes up a lot in value. Really strong top laner in the early game. And then gets ridiculously tanky with that W passive. So definitely a solid pick, and I like the engage that Team Forge have, because I feel like teams that struggle just a little bit it's easier to play the game with a lot more CC at your disposal, because these challenger players will make mistakes, positional, macro-wise, even micro, and then you can just punish immediately with a body slam flash or a cocoon or all the CC. Like, every single pick here on Team Forge has the ability to influence a fight.
That's really cool to see a Vel'Koz coming out there. I was not expecting Varus to be a flex into ADC, so that'll be very cool.
The instant reaction from Wicked is though, okay, you guys have 2 stationary carries? I wonder which champion I will play now. Insta-Luck Maokai.
Yeah.
And that is actually the glue we were looking for this composition as well. We needed something to go in first, draw the attention, and now Nuxalon has the opportunity at least to wait, hold Tempered Fate, get Wicked to kind of rally them in place, and then look for a combo. So these could spell some very interesting team fights. Forge wants to keep the distance. If Nerv collapse, things get bloody.
That's very cool, and maybe we'll see Righteous Glory was changed slightly on 6.12, but honestly 6.12 is not a massive patch. We are playing on 6.12, by the way. Didn't say, but yeah, this will be an interesting game, because Forge are just playing like not only different champions, but a different playstyle from what we've seen so far from them.
But at least they've drafted CC.
Yes,
I would honestly kind of hate myself if I come into a game here where both teams would be like, you know what, we're going to play max range, double poke, no CC, grueling war of 1,000 cuts. At least these lineups have a tendency to get a little bloody.
Yeah, get in there.
The game.
Yeah, I mean, even when both teams like draft those composition challenges, they just fight anyway because someone like trips up, and then we just see someone get caught. So
the good old
yeah, exactly.
Domino effect of picks being yeah.
So that kind of happens in challenger anyway. But yeah, we have a lot of engage coming in from Nerv as well. So we're gonna see Wicked come in with these engages. Wicked going for more of like a pure tank. Generally, Wicked's been opting towards more carries, at least when he can. Pretty much the only champion he played last split was Poppy when Poppy was in the split. He's generally been a player who has like this smaller champion pool and then sticks to it when he can against all odds. It's like, is Poppy a good hit? Probably not, but I play Poppy, so let's lock it in.
Yeah, I want to see how Wicked does. Gragas has a slightly favorable matchup into Maokai early. More wave control. I think slightly better trades too. Maokai shouldn't die in this matchup. Bot lane should be fine. Karma Varus into Ezreal Bard. There's not really any side that wants to lane swap. Personally, if you let me decide, I'd almost play the Ezreal Bard lane, but slight bias there.
Yeah, sure.
But looking at mid though, this is a counter pick that Faker the enemy Azir. It's this Vel'Koz. It lanes very well. The range advantage is there. If you get gap closed on, you will have issues. However, Azir Hecarim isn't really a strong 2-man combo. But if you look at Vel'Koz at least, any CC that connects onto Azir, he's pretty much one-shot, and that's exactly why Caps is running the Summoner Cleanse.
Yeah, we are into game now with Team Forge up against Nerv coming in for this first game with this best of 2. Again, hashtags, #4GWin or NRVWin if you want to jump on Twitter, and we'll be checking in later with you guys, but we are now into this game. So, a lot of cool picks coming out. Got the Varus, the Vel'Koz, and the Karma all in one game. Never thought I'd actually see that. So many flexes coming out here. And then Nerv also running the Hecarim. So seeing more and more new picks come into the meta. And you can see Memento actually bringing that one this time.
And we see Hiva do something that is typical for Karma lanes. They generally want to not do Krugs. Because if you trade Krugs for Gromp, you kind of go even in the lane, and then Ezreal can rush level 2 and he's fine for farming. What they're likely going to do is just hide it in lane, either go stop the Gromp to again go for a longer level 1 fight, or hide in the rush and get a really good Manta Q as Upset and Nuxalot and make it back to lane and see if they can zone from there on. That's what you see a lot of Karma players do across the board.
Hiva likes to go on his solo expeditions a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see him just solo invade here. Also, they have been spotted on that ward coming out, so...
Yeah. Interesting start here, too, that Memento is starting on his side of his bot lane. This is something we rarely see in competitive play because there are counter plays, mostly involving lane swaps, and he's actually getting a hard leash here. So this is like a second adaptation from Upset and Nukes to say, you know what, they're probably going to punish us when we come back to lane anyways. Let's walk him with the minions. And right now, Karma doesn't really get a good access point for the Mantra Q. I like it because it kind of relies on 4G doing the strategy. You get behind if they do a camp, but it's the smarter mind game of the two. And now Memento is starting hard leash, and he can start pathing to the top lane where he can maybe find a gank on Gragas.
It's really interesting. Taiki actually now going into the opposing jungle looking to take away this red, and Memento, because he started on Grump as well, won't be up there in time. So Memento actually dropping fairly low in this first jungle clear, but he should be fine. He's Hecarim. He clears the jungle pretty fast.
Really good adaptation here by Taiki.
Yeah.
Sadly, that entire play was on an award, and now Taiki reads it, and he realizes that he's the stronger positional jungler here. Yeah, and now the plan completely backfires, because his Memento going to read this. He may even just path into Taiki somewhere and fall behind.
I'm not even sure.
Taiki is under leveled due to this, though. He took 2 camps in a span of time that it took Memento to do 3, and right now he's trying to steal this away. So looking at smites here, both available.
Memento's going to step out the bush and try and get the steal down, or just go right onto Taiki. He's got the level advantage, and Cap's coming in here as well. Ika's going to come up and assist. Flash from Taiki.
Yeah, you can't do a long path into then a duel. That's counterintuitive, because you spend time moving to the enemy jungle to take away resources. The way you capitalize on that play is by going back to your own jungle and now out camping him. At least isn't really the farm heaviest of jungles, so you'll actually get a gank in somewhere. But yeah, this kind of nullifies the resource denial because Taiki just lost his flash. Cheeky little invade. The follow-up was a little bit too brute forced.
It's just a bit weird though, because you must know the timings if he's gone for 2 camps and a buff, right? Like you'll know he's going to be over there at some point.
Yeah. Or he's thinking very highly of Memento, and he's saying, you know what, this guy is so good at jungle, he knows I'm stealing his red buff.
Yeah.
I honestly doubt that. I think this was just a minor lapse in judgment.
Okay.
He always knew he had flash.
So that's a flash burn, but it was also exhaust used by Memento. He's trying to increase the damage on the E there. And Ika's pushing up the mid lane. Very interesting matchup. You were speaking about Faker actually bringing us up against Azir over in Korea.
One of the few matchups that can push in Azir, the Vel'Koz. You can see that Ika's playing on Caps' tower. Usually Azir wants to soldier spam and just push up constantly and win the battle of attrition. Look, immediately attack on minion. Then the AoEs come out, and he wants to CS him down. Race this Azir in terms of minion wave clear.
And Taiki is actually spotted out on this ward as well, so information going over to Nerv. And now Ika will head back to base. Vel'Koz also typically maxes the W. A lot of people, like, initially you would think it would be like Q if you're just like new to Vel'Koz, but it's actually W. Gives you a lot of wave clear. And Caps is by himself. So first back from Ika, picking up the Forgotten Tome.
Yeah, if you fail your geometry exams, W max is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
If you're a Vel'Koz player.
And we'll carry on laning. So, bot lane now. Do we see any advantage from the start of the game? Because Nerv came in, and I've been pushed up to tower now. Gap's got a slight CS advantage, but it's nothing really to write home about. Does have the pot advantage though over upset.
Things are pretty equal right now.
Yeah. Not too bad. Nukes a lot. It's taking a bit of damage. Actually, yeah, definitely getting poked out of this lane, but Heaver's been trading his mana for that, so gonna get a nice match Q. Yeah, and follow the piercing arrow.
And more importantly, the shift's on cooldown right now, because generally bot lane's all about trading cooldowns. If you can trade poke for gap closer, that means the next poke's guaranteed to hit. Upset right now, sitting still on like 10 seconds right now, 5 seconds on his shift. That allows Taiki to move up. He misses here because they know Vel'Koz is coming. Really like this portal here from Nukeslot. Really creative decision making. He knew he was getting cornered in. Miss was called, and honestly a very poor attempt here from Taiki. Rushed. Didn't think about magical journeys as an escape route.
Nukeslot is going on a magical journey right now.
He doesn't know how many people are chasing him, so he wants to cheat death by suiciding.
Yeah. There's no point going up to mid and then get tagged by Ika, so losing that kill.
And look at Mimic right here. He's respecting the cross-map play. When you're a top laner and you're seeing your team dive bot 4v1, don't just stand there and be like, hey, good job, guys. You know that the exact same thing is going to happen to you if you don't back off. Your Mimic realizes that, gives Wicked some breathing room, and this is how your top laner gets punished for a mistake on the bottom lane. And that's how any advantage like translates on the map. Never look at it in a vacuum. Now, Mimic has to kind of play passive just a little bit because of the move that Nerv made as a reaction to Forge's move.
It's always like balancing scales, right? You put one on one end and something's going to happen on the other. But Taiki, or rather Memento, is actually taking away this jungle camp here, going in for the invade. 4 members strong on the top side of Upset, and Nukeslot coming in here.
They're really good because they were unfavorable base timing here. Upset only coming out with just a tier. They actually use that to just rotate to the top lane and get a bit of tower damage down here, forcing Mimic behind. So that's a way to dodge a disadvantage. It's a really smart move here, because if they run back into bot lane, they'll probably maybe run into poke or they're slightly behind the CS. Instead, they just start opening up the map. Like it.
Yeah, and now Mimic will have to back away from that tower, and Nerv, as you said, open up the map, take up this top tower. Ika in a mid lane, landing that ultimate, and we'll have to slime right out of there. Caps is on the receiving end of that. Still has his ult and both of the summoners, though. Yeah,
the one caveat of this play, however, is that the Infernal Drake that spawned on the map is now exposed and easily being able to take him by Ika. Ika going deep here.
Wow, he's going very deep. Caps will use the ultimate, is dropping low on mana. TP is going to be cancelled out from Wicked. Did not need to complete that. And Ika had to burn just his heal, but Caps, that was an ultimate. So Caps coming slightly ahead in terms of resources burnt. Nukeslot using his portal to get back to lane. And Taiki did not manage to donate that one over to Ike. He was at 6 health remaining. Unfortunately, the Plasma Fission hit a Sentinel and not the blue buff, so we'll be getting that this time. Never lucky. Nukeslot. Does that actually show vision if you place down a Caretaker's Shrine over the wall?
Yeah, so if you put a Relic health pack down, you get a momentarily burst of vision. It's good to check like very small locations. It's about the width of the ward, so you don't check the entire brush. So you place it on the most likely point where somebody's waiting to give you. People with that knowledge can obviously use against you. Just stand in inopportune positions in the brush.
Place it on the gromp there, so definitely saw that one was gone. Memento is now level 6, so we could see some Hecarim ultimate start to come out. He's got the Ghost back up as well. Didn't really feel the burn of losing that one early. Yeah,
I didn't like what Forge did with their advantage in the mid lane. Instead of poking out the Azir and rotating to the Dragon, since the top side of the map was prioritized by Nerv, they kind of just messed around, did nothing here, so they could easily use that mid lane advantage to go for Dragon. Right now, they're attempting here a Dragon, while their mid laner was in base. So was there sufficient vision from Nerv? They could have actually gotten punished very hard. So this is a very bold maneuver, but it is paying off, and it looks like the first Dragon of the game is going to Team Forge here, Infernal one.
Yeah, next one's going to be Cloud, so we'll see if the teams will go over that one. But yeah, Nerv, completely zero vision over that area, so did not even see them. They had one ward in mid, but because they walked up from the bot side, didn't even catch them. Mid lane still pushing away. Slight advantage to Ica, but not completely out of it is Caps.
Yeah, vision hasn't been researched yet. If you compare it to like Age of Empires, we're stuck in the pre-Sidestone era right now. Both supports are on maybe a Ruby Crystal. Look at Sir Nukeslot. He's built himself up boots and a refillable potion. No, he wants to get the mileage out of that potion, but
I see.
Not going for early Sidestone.
I'll have to keep going back to base. Here's a TP coming out from Mimic. He's not going to catch the Bard, and he's not going to catch Upset either. He's going to go on a magical journey. Nukeslot not even going to bind him up, and Mimic will just carry on walking back. Taking a lot of damage from those Meeps coming in. Hiva and the rest of his team are pushing up as Caps is coming in from around the side, looking for an ultimate, land onto 3 players. Hiva's caught on the tower, he's going to go down. First blood over to Navares. Gap is caught right in the middle of the rest of the team, and he's just going to go down. This has been disastrous from Team Forge.
Yeah, what a swing maneuver there. Absolutely massive ultimate from Caps and a beautiful binding follow-up. We can't stress this enough from Nukeslot, locking down, I think, 2 players at the same time. And again, they're making this really big shift in map movement. You know, they're saying, you know what, bot side's our strong side, but Ica is stuck in the mid lane. He didn't path over and join that bot lane party, and essentially made it a 4v4 with a defending Azir being able to shift into the turret range, and that's never what you want.
Well, advantage picked up early by Nerv in this game. Only about the 300 gold advantage, but will be opened up as they take the bottom lane tower, as one was taken in the mid lane by Forge. And we do have Hiva coming down, but he's just a lonely support right now, so he's not going to be able to stop this push. We'll get a bit of farm, but that's up just about it. And what has that done in terms of everything? So just over a 1,000 gold advantage to Nerv. We're going to take a look at that last trade again.
So this teleport fails here. Mimic doesn't get the body slam. Honestly, bad predict. You should always know that the Ezreal's going to shift into the portal there. And look at these 3 4G members here cornered, and Caps is going for a really creative opening here. Soldier into slide, move Soldier into 2-man ulti. Flash, and then a stun at least Taiki into the wall here from Nukes, and then a Hecarim comes thundering through the lane here. Yeah, this is just 4G not respecting the enemy's summoners being up, the enemy's ultimates being up, and Aka stuck playing on an island in the mid lane here. They're trying to make a play in both mid and bot at the same time, and I think that's greedy.
And they all grouped up as well. It was just perfect for Caps just to come in there and land an ultimate. So bottom tower will go down over to Forge. So they did manage to pick up 2 objectives following that play, and that will equal the gold total. So it's not horrible. And they picked up the Infernal Dragon. So they have control over that one. He was going to be rotating towards mid lane now.
And this is the point of the game where supports and junglers need to work in unison to dictate what area they're going to light up in terms of wards, and then what area that either 4G or Nerv are going to play towards as their strong side. Let's see how well they synergize together, if they've practiced this or they're just putting random wards in random locations without seemingly a purpose.
Now, let's see if that's the case. Ica just throwing out that Q, does not land and be able to take away some of this vision around the mid lane.
Yeah. 4G, since they seem to be the team with more early game control, highlighted by the fact that they got 2 objectives even after being killed 3 times. They've shifted to the top side because Herald is there as an objective. Nerv don't want to challenge that, so they're just kind of leaving Wicked in the top lane, and they're trading vision here. Now, Ica shouldn't aggressively defend his jungle. He needs to just keep his tower alive, and we're looking at a trade here. Obviously, tier 1 still alive in top side. Looking like a trade for maybe tier 1 plus Herald versus tier 2 in the bot lane. Mento gonna zone off Mimic. Remember, there's still teleport advantage for Wicked available, so Mimic has to be careful.
Yeah, Mimic's gonna use his ultimate, but it's not level 2, so it's not gonna clear the wave out. Wicked?
Not the biggest fan of that play from Wicked. It's a short-term solution, a band-aid on that tower, but he could have just simply walked back to the top lane, saved his teleport, and had it ready as endurance, because of course right now it's not going to matter. Mimic's teleport is still on cooldown, but it gives 4G the opportunity to make another proactive move if they want to.
But in Challenger Krepo, that's a win. We kept the tower alive, so +1 to Nerv, and temporarily do have a 200 gold advantage, so that's going to be carrying them towards the mid-game, of course. 1 minute left until we have the almighty Cloud Dragon, which neither team is going to care much about, unless they can just take it easily. And
that's a dead narrative at this point, though. Everybody has had their 2 cents about the Cloud
Dragon. I feel bad for Cloud Dragon now. He's just being dumped on by pretty much everyone around the world.
I really like Monty's earlier approach to that. Hang on, Taiki going in.
Yeah, Wicked is going in onto Taiki, or maybe the other way around. Taiki's going to go up, but the rest of the team is coming in. Heaver gets bound up, and Nuxla over the wall. Ike is going to blow him up with the laser.
And this is where, honestly, Nerv are falling into their own trap of defending this tower needlessly. So they're playing towards top side of the map, but if you look where Hecarim and Caps were, like Memento and Caps, they were on the bottom side of the map doing things together right there. So you have 2 of your dots. Always count dots. 200 dots on the bottom side of the map, and 3 of them without any like real semblance of being able to fight on the top side. Then you get collapsed on. It's just, it is poor resource distribution and poor synergy here. Nerv need to work together, and I think they kind of baited themselves in trying to keep that tower alive. Let's look at this again. It's like Wicked, he wants to aggressively defend this part of the jungle, which is good, but look, Aiken now has a proactive move, and they found themselves outmanned, outgunned, and this seemingly 3v3 turns into a 5v3 because Mimic now has teleport, as we talked about earlier. He comes in swinging, and Aika had mid lane priority, so he moved up after pushing the wave, and there is no cross-map objective because Nerv just simply wasn't ready for this. And that's why it's always important to keep track of like what is your strong side, what is your weak side, what is our next objective, because if you don't have that set in stone, you're going to play reactive and fall victim to some of these aggressive engages from Forge.
Well, Wicked lost his only friend in the world, which was top tower. He even ran towards it when he could have just ran towards his inner tower. So he really
sometimes you just
wanted it.
You just want to see that tower one more time.
Yeah,
before you let it go.
Before you let it go. Well, Wicked let it go, and then he died himself for it. So I'm going to say not worth on that play. Ica poking around the mid lane. So much poke coming in from this team, and that's really just opening up from the Vel'Kars and the Varus and the Karma. All picks that can go into the mid lane and just be annoying by themselves, but now you've got all of them on one team.
Yeah, a lot of poke here. Caps looking to hold, because Upset is putting pressure on the top side. And if he pushes that in, somebody's going to have to react, and then he is freed up as a pawn on the chessboard. Could potentially move to a bit of a Dragon Siege advantage. Or looking to trade Dragon for Herald here. Clown, trade for Herald. Good trade.
Yeah, good trade. Using a lot of analogies here. Chess and dots, checkers, like, which is it, Krepo? Like, does it evolve as the game goes on?
Or in one.
It's all of them combined?
But we need to get darts in there.
Darts?
Just so we can go 180.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not sure how you're going to fit that in, but we'll find a way, I'm sure.
I love watching darts.
I do too.
Darts, this kind of sport, and when you get home at like 2 or 3 a.m. and you're just a wee bit not so sober anymore, you put on the telly and you just find out that there's darts and you watch that for 2 hours.
That is the
same with curling. Curling is one of those sports that you never wake up and you're like, you know what? Today, I really want to watch curling. But if you find curling on television,
you're just flicking through.
You can be damned that you'll be watching curling for at least 1 hour or 2 hours.
Yeah, that's really true. I remember doing the same with in Australia with Trevor. We're just flicking through on the final day, and it's like dots. And we're just yelling 180 for several hours. It was great. So somehow we'll get that in there, I'm sure.
Snooker's one of those as well. But let's get back to this siege right here.
There's a lot of good ones. 17 minutes into this game, Team Forge pushing up this mid lane. Got everyone grouped up, and usually when you have a poke team up against a not poke team, then yeah, good luck with that.
Nerv taking the heat here for what feels like a century.
Yep. They, Okay, they're still being pushed in, and they can't get any engage off because they're already poked down. Caps has taken 2 arrows to the face. Wicked's gonna get blown up. Laser over the wall, get researched, and the true damage will rain down. Caps over the wall. Mimic will find it, but punts it all the way back over. So many ultimates flying back and forth, but it's 4G who are gonna come out ahead.
Yeah, and the unrelenting calculated aggression here from Forge. Poke first, hit later is what you want to do. Get him weak and then follow up with a max range here from Aika, really highlighting why that Vel'Koz pick came out. And Nerv, they're playing purely reactive. As they're getting poked down, they're probably asking each other in comms, guys, what do we do? Because they didn't predict this outcome. There were no flank wards in position. A Maokai should never be aggressively defending here because he needs to put flank pressure. Because if you don't offer either hard engage or flank pressure to a poke composition, they will literally poke you down, especially if you're kind of still an underdeveloped tank here. Now Caps has to cleanse out immediately. Mimic says, nope, back to the front door right there, but it's Nerv just not really jumping on the information that they have. I mean, you're playing against the Pokemon. What are they going to do? They're going to poke you, but we have to praise 4G for their decisiveness. They're leaving Nerv very little time to figure out what's going on, and I think that's very important here. Shortening those time windows in Challenger is what will get you closer to the LCS.
Yeah, because by the time you've asked the question, what should we do now, then it's already over and you've just lost the tower and lost a couple of kills. So Team Forge playing this game correctly with this composition.
You can already tell what they're doing right now. You see Gragas is pushing in the bottom lane. Memento
oh my
getting
god,
engaged
another combo onto Memento. This time it's going to be stopped up by Sir Nukes a lot.
So yeah, so they're pushing in mid-wave as 4, forcing Nerv to group on the tower, and that means they get an easy rotation into the enemy blue side jungle. So they always get the wave first, move into enemy jungle, and have a potential rotation set up here to the bot lane. But if Nerv over-defend that, then their mid lane's exposed here. So they're grasping at straws while Upset is still fixing side lanes here. He just spaced from top. So Forge always in the understanding that they have a numbers advantage, and it makes it very comfortable for them. Look, no TP wards behind them, really good vision control. It's impossible for Wicked to do anything. He's going to look for a flash W. That's it.
Oh man.
That's his play right now.
He's getting chunked so hard by Aika. I've been really impressed actually by Aika's combos this game and how he's been setting up his ultimate. It's actually so satisfying watching Lifeform Disintegration right now with it doing true damage on those stacks. Here comes the TP, and Wicked looking for that flank, instantly cocooned.
Yeah, this is pre-home guards, so 20 seconds later Wicked would have had home guards, but this is still 19 minutes, 45 seconds in the game. Nothing there, and again, Poke starts landing. They've identified the threat, which is the Maokai flank with really good vision control. That's out of the equation, and now it's just a matter of time. And a dodging lesson here, really, for Nerv. This game has been reduced to dodgeball.
Yep.
So no more chess, no more snooker, no more darts, no more curling maybe.
Curling perhaps, yeah. And curling these, here come the minions coming down, and there's the ultimate once again. Nuke's not going to have to take the journey out. Mimic, meanwhile, he's just tanking up the tower, and it's just a matter of time before this tower goes down. Yeah,
but Forge are likely going to disengage it because you don't want to play a fight on half resources. With a poke comp, you are weaker in direct fights when the gap gets closed. If anybody gets close to Aika or gap, they're probably just going to drop. So that's what they want to avoid here. Really good understanding of when to push on, when to back off. They likely had quite a bit of gold to spend as well.
And Aika back to the mid lane, still farming out a minute 30 until the next dragon. We just had Cloud Dragon, and the next one, I didn't even check, it's going to be Ocean. Okay, so that's the third one of the game. So Team Forge will be happy taking that one, especially as a poke composition, because then you never get hit.
Yeah, Ocean works very well if you're the one poking. You need like multiple Oceans to really resist the poke comp at this point. Wicked also going for the Rod of Ages Maokai build. Not sure how I feel about that if you're already behind. It just requires more scaling right now. They need him to be a bit of a wall. The gold isn't far enough ahead here for Forge that they can decisively win the game though here.
Oh, Caps tried to make the play in the mid lane, but flash by Heaver will stop that from happening. So burn one summoner, but it's a summoner on the support for an ultimate on the mid laner right now. Yeah, when they're bleeding out.
Catching up to, look at this build here. Very, very almost janky build that he's got to get a Taiki's going to go for the man life.
He's looking for the cocoon, lands it onto it, Upset. Here comes a Temp for Fate, gonna put a timeout on this play. Aika's gonna follow up, instant detonation. And with Memento coming in, he's looking to pick up return kill onto Aika. Onslaught of Shadows will pick up the first one. Taiki trying to kite away. Rest of the fight's ensuing off to the right-hand side, but Taiki, he's got his dancing shoes, but will come back in to try and secure the deal. Double kill out for Caps, a 2-for-1 trade to Nerv.
Yeah, over eager here from Taiki. He saw the play. That could have easily been an 0-for-2, if not 0-for-3, because Upset flashed in place. He did not move with his summoner spell. He still got hit by the cocoon here. So the mad life from Taiki came too late because Taiki's thinking, okay, I'm gonna flash in and shift and do cocoon forward, and then Upset reacts too late to that by just honestly doing a very horrible flash. Slight misplay here from the kid that's really new to the challenger scene. It's played in some challenger qualifiers, you know, German EPS too, I believe. Never really this high of a level.
And then just the end of the trade, Taiki just going in, he was dead. Good zoning from Caps, cutting off his escape route, and that was the end of that chapter. So now, evened up a little bit, kind of stalled out Forge for a couple seconds, couple minutes.
And this is good for Nerv, because by all means, they're still in this game when it comes to raw fighting potential. It would be slightly more beneficial if Upset didn't have such a weird build here. He went for the Triforce Spike again earlier to stop the bleeding, to get the remedy, something maybe Wicked should have done in his approach too. Just get an earlier Spike build. But then it doesn't really synergize that well. He's still stacking his tier. Working to build that up to later. He had to go for an early Hex Drinker. It's just not as synergistic for a late game as well.
Yeah. And benefits of having an Elise, got those Spirelings to tank up the dragons, so Taiki is able to pick that up by himself. Next one's going to be Infernal. So Team Forge have been picking up all of these dragons. Got to keep track of that as we head later on into the game. Only 23 minutes in though, so long time until we find ourselves with an Elder Dragon on the board. And Mimic is going to control this crab as well. So overall, Team Forge still have control over this game in terms of vision, in terms of pressure. But Nerv have been able to get some decent engages to stall this out.
And now Aika is stuck in the bottom lane as well, trying to fix that. So that's going to leave a window of opportunity for Nerv to get some wards down. Because Nukes has been desperate to find some ward positions that at least can allow Wicked to teleport here. Again, flanking is very important in this composition. Getting your top laner behind enemy lines is almost paramount to victory. So Nukes could actually sweep into the Baron area, but they have their eyes set on this mid lane tower, and I don't know how wise it is against the abundance of wave clear Forge.
I'm going to go with not very wise in this game.
Because if you look at time spent, the last 15, 20, 25 seconds could have been spent getting some wards in around the Baron area, cleaning out some pinks. Now the foundation that Forge has built about a minute ago is still alive, and they can build upon that. Get deeper vision into the enemy red jungle here. Really liking the approach from Forge. Identifying Baron as the next objective. How do we do that? Well, River first, jungle later, and it'll force Nerv at least to consider a face check.
There's a lot of fighting going on over that big chicken there, but I think it went over to Team Forge in the end.
Protein, man.
Yeah, it's protein. Gotta get that protein. You are the expert on that one. Taiki coming up to the top lane, he's looking for another cocoon, but Upset is going to make his way out first. Caps over the wall, he's looking to get in here, but gets hit by the cocoon and a plethora of poke. Here comes the laser, try and finish him off. Memento's going to come in. Temper Fate lands onto 2, he's going to protect his ally for a couple seconds, but that's not going to protect him forever as he will go down. Another kill over to Forge.
And if we could just take a mental picture of the minimap right now, if you're watching, look at where Wicked was. He was in the bottom lane, throwing out a wave. We have a re-engaging from Caps, who suddenly gets Aika. Yeah. Now Wicked's going for a fight. We get more action.
He's actually going to stop the TP here.
Right. We get less action.
We get less action, all right. But yeah, Aika got bodied by Caps.
Yeah,
I was not expecting that to happen.
That's the difference. Poke comp really good if you're out of range. Not so great if you're actually in range. Caps still had his ultimate available. A lot of things to talk about here, though. The setup from Forge is what prompted all of this. Nerv came with kind of a shotgun reaction here. Caps went in, but used both his Q and his E aggressively to get into a position where nobody kind of was present. And he kind of stood there as like, guys, oh, I'm kind of caught here. Instant reaction cocoon from Taiki prompted the cleanse. Then the Varus ulti follow-up forced a defensive Tempered Fate, and that's really important. Yes, the Plague stalled, but remember, this is Nerv going aggressive on a play where the support then has to make a defensive reactive play. That means something doesn't add up. And what doesn't add up here is that Wicked's in the bottom lane here, not teleporting to any wards. There's nothing been set up for him. Look at the ultimate usage here too. Memento immediately exhausted and then eating his own Tempered Fate. Mimic still gets body slam off. It's just very chaotic. Not on the same page. What was the goal here, you could ask for Nerv? This doesn't seem like something that was communicated. And then this is just, yeah, Caps with a really good turnaround here. Beautiful play. Execution. Mistake from Aika.
It's interesting because Aika actually threw out his Q, but it just hit a minion, so he didn't even get the damage onto Caps. And Wicked was coming up as well, but he was kind of trudging his way up and by himself. So either way, Nerv do kind of get ahead. They're now pushing in this mid lane. Tower should go down pretty easily. Memento's looking to play zone, and the tower goes down. Nerv are getting more and more of this momentum in this game. They're looking to back off now, getting slowed down. Rylai's picked up here by Taiki. Nice cocoon. Everyone's going to take the journey out. All right. Forge now pushed down the mid lane.
And this is where this comp from Forge starts falling off later in the game. Karma Poke is now negligent, so her utility has been reduced to a movement speed steroid. But if they caught already, Karma is a non-factor in this fight. Bard much better. Wicked needs to stay alive here though.
Nice Cocoon, great combo from Iker and a less great ultimate from Mimic, actually just knocking Wicked to safety.
Yeah, finally online Spirit Visage in addition to 10 stacks on that Rod of Ages. That's the difference here for Wicked.
Yeah, got some time to stack that one up, and the top tower now being sieged in. Decent minion wave here, should be able to knock it down. Chains does not connect onto Caps, and Nerv will have to back away from this tower. So net gain for Team Forge, zoning away Wicked and zoning away the rest of his team.
And this here, the net gain afterwards here, the approach to the Baron, completely barren of vision as well here. Completely in the dark. Wicked will have to teleport to that ward slightly behind them, and that could be really good at the front.
Here comes the Tempered Fate onto Baron, so assuming they were already on it just because Nerv didn't have the vision.
They had to check, and now they know it's a bait, so you never walk in if you just hit just the Baron. You know the enemy team is baiting you here.
Yeah.
So Forge's reaction will likely be to challenge his mid-wave, push it out, and then retreat, and do the same thing again, because Bard would only use his ultimate. Hang on, Wicked again
getting caught. Iker does have his ultimate, and there's so much CC landing. This time, that's a good ultimate in from Mimic, and that will secure Wicked's death. Heaver gonna pick up the kill there.
What a greedy pathing here. Wicked looking to cut some seconds here to get back into the game by moving from mid to bot here, but he was caught out entirely, and a really good speed up from Hiva here. More action, exhausted Memento.
Whoa, Memento going in, but again he's coming out from Iker, and a full channel of the ultimate will drop him low. He'll go back to base. Taiki gonna get head up. The banana does not land onto the spider as he escapes, and the rest of Forge will have to retreat from this.
Yeah. No poke to set up that fight, so even 4v5. Nerv managed to disengage against Forge here, but we have to question that pathing. This is something that has plagued Wicked throughout his entire career. In a microcosm, in a vacuum, he made really solid plays. But having the bigger picture in mind, he sometimes lost track of some things happening on the minimap, and he does it again. Another erroneous overextension here.
Oh, everyone grouped up. What a nice setup coming in from Forge, and they'll find Memento and Caps as they try to take down the Dragon. A lot of them are still low out from Forge, so they have to be a little bit careful around here.
Yeah, they need to be very careful here. Mimic's coming out with his own here. I like the teamwork from Forge. We saw the setup there, the Death Push Fnatic-wise. Wicked, no flash available. No teleport wards behind, so he needs to come from the front door. Look at Tempered Fate being up though here, they're grouped.
There's the ultimate coming out from Mimic. Tempered Fate onto 3 players. Could be a good setup from Nerv. Bad binding. Does not look up anybody. Taiki will go down though, but the rest of Forge will retreat. But that was the Infernal over to 4G.
Yeah, Forge get the Infernal traded for the jungle, which is fine unless they lose Baron here, because look at the momentum. And Nerv can build up here, but they're sending their mid laner to base, dealing with the minion wave. That means they lose the DPS on the Baron, so they're not going for a rush Baron play here. Just gonna get rid of the vision.
Yeah, all of it's visible as well, so they'll take it out and just journey on out of there.
Yeah, that's a really good Tempered Fate though from Nukeslot, and that's what you need to look for. If you're a bar player against a poke comp, that is your prime tool of engage. If a flank fails, if you can't really get your jungler or your top laner on the side of either composition, then you really need to engage with Tempered Fate and lock down the Cosmic Binding follow-up.
Hiva, he's face checked and walked past the Hecarim, so he's knocked back into the team, and he'll just go down.
And that's the first time we've seen Forge make this mistake. Look, Gragas in the bot lane, Aka doing blue buff, Varus at mid tier 1, tier 2, and then you see your support face check into a Baron area blind. That is just way too bold and disrespectful, and it may cost them the Baron here, because now Nerv is the one defending the objective. Poke will be... There's too little time here, not enough time to follow.
Diverty just come in, and Caps is looking for the initiate. There's a laser coming out, doesn't really tag anyone. He's gonna get slammed into the wall by Memento. Taiki is separated from the team, but he will take down Caps and Memento. Great true shot barrage onto 3 players. Mimic will look for the re-engage. Tempered Fate doesn't quite land. Iker and Gap are given free reign to carry on poking. Baron was not taken down. Successful defense from 4G.
Yeah, what a defense there, but the main thing that prompted that was Caps' lackluster engage here, over-eager. And we need to start criticizing some of the conceptual gameplay here on Nerv. They get into positions where they just need to keep their head calm. You can clearly tell that they lack a shot caller. The prime play there is not engage, it's disengage and focus Baron. Worst case, you go for a 50-50, but that forces Forge to get too close. Look at this. You want to be the one that's drawing them in here. You don't go for a max range QE engage if you're Caps, and then use your ulti, because the cost of failure is too high. If your ability gets flashed, everything is on cooldown. And you're in a 0 with 0 cooldowns in a fight, traded for a flash. Short term, that's not worth it when you could have just defended and gotten the Baron here. So Caps is pulling the trigger way too quickly, and it's forcing his team to make defensive reactions as opposed to winning that fight 5v4.
Which is surprising because it should have just been a one fight easily there, just baiting the 4 players in.
And exactly, and if you're looking at the alternatives, what is an alternative here for Nerv for this 0 engage? Well, perhaps it could be the Maokai, Twisted Advance, or, you know, engage Hecarim, or Tempered Fate. You have 3 well-defined, easily be executable alternatives, yet you're the one going in here, and Forge have had a really good habit of punishing these mistakes. They got into the position by doing, honestly, an ill-advised face check.
Yeah.
But they've been great at reacting in these situations.
They were actually just playing the long con. They just knew, they were like, sent Heaver in, set them up for it. Nah, that's not what happened, but...
make them think we're stupid.
Yeah, that's exactly how we play League of Legends. But Upset, taking so much poke. Every one of these arrows that lands, or a plasma fission, or anything that lands from 4G is hurting so much on those squishy targets. Always feel like it's Caps and Upset getting caught by them as well. Playing very far to the front of the lines. They're
probably not aiming at the tanks either, though, Pulse.
No, that's true. But like, you don't want to be catching them at the same time as a squishy. It's a two-way street, you know, if you're playing dodgeball. But Wicked's finally going to come down to the rest of his team.
Were you good at dodgeball?
No.
Pulse?
I mean, I was good at catching them in my face, but I'm not sure if that qualifies as good.
Your slender build was not an advantage?
No, not really. I wasn't really slender, though. I was kind of rounder when I was younger.
Rotund?
Yeah. Robust.
I too found that robustness, robustity,
did not help in dodgeball. It's not helping Memento either, really. But Mimic, surprisingly, is doing pretty well for how robust he is in this game. He's dodging a lot of that poke. Nukes a lot.
Nukes a lot, not Nuke Duck. Different nuke, different league. Nuke's coming out here from Gap, though. Ooh. Look at that position priority they have in the mid lane as well. Now 4G, you have to just make sure they don't engage. I really like the approach here, and we see again, Nerv is making the mistake of grouping up. You never group up fully against the poke composition because you remove your flank opportunity. You really want to have a way in. Now Caps, he has 1 shell left in the shotgun. And he's looking to pull the trigger soon.
Can he connect it?
No.
There's a True Shot Barrage. That's flying off the map. And Caps will go back to base as well. He hasn't been able to recall because the arrows kept coming out from Gap.
Yeah, this is where Forge got a little bit too scared. I think they over-respected what Nerv was going to offer. Because, I mean, if you're going to go for that Baron, you have to assume that they'll walk back and try and challenge you.
Yeah.
You had the information there. Obviously very easy for us to tell.
Sure.
But we're just refining some of these, honestly, good fundamentals. We talked about it in the pre-game. We need to look at what bases these teams have. And for me, Forge have shown a lot of the basics. Identifying a strong side of the map, identifying the next objective, setting up vision first, pick later. They make some mistakes in a vacuum where they kind of see a player as like, oh, I can kill this guy. I can go for a mad life here. But they're working as a team. It seems that a lot of their actions are communicated and they're working together, as opposed to Nerv.
Flash Cocoon, good cleanse, good flash out by Mimic, followed up by the ultimate. Here comes a TP, maybe a little bit late though, out from Wicked. Gap's gonna take down Caps. And Nooslo is trying to retreat here. How much more CC do Forge have? That'll be the flash coming in from the Bard, and Upset will shift away.
Yeah, prime target selection. Everybody threw everything that they had at Caps, despite cleanse. And luckily for them, Flash being on cooldown right now, they took him down. And this is big right now. They can siege 4v5 with this poke comp. Again, nobody flanking. No Tempered Fate here. This is a fantastic position for Forge to be in.
Now arriving at Poke City, here comes the ultimate onto Momentum's going to finish him off right at the tip of the laser. Takes out the Hecarim. Now the middle inhibitor's going to go down. Forge back off and they get everything they wanted from that play.
A well-practiced Vel'Koz pick here for Aika. Very aware of how much damage is in that changed ultimate here. Self-stacking the passive and then triggering into true damage is a change that got removed from Vel'Koz but recently re-added, and has just been turning him into quite a monster. And look at this Elder Dragon, 4 Drakes on 4G.
Yeah, Vel'Koz very much does hit like a truck right now, and Elder Dragon with 4 dragons to 4G is going to amplify the burn, is going to amplify all the dragons, and this is going to be difficult for Nerv over the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, they have only 2 minutes to use it though, so basing without a Baron buff loses you too much, and that's why Aika is looking to honestly
gank these minions.
Gank these minions and set up a siege here, but they don't have a Baron buff to keep these guys alive.
No, Caps has got to be careful. That was 1 arrow, took Caps down to half there, coming in from Gap alone. Tower's just dead.
Yeah, it's 45 damage per base plus
dragons.
Plus dragons too, you know, 45 per stack right there, so it's just a wealth of true damage on the poke.
And here comes the push coming in from 4G as well. Temper Fate will land just onto Ica. Can Nerv capitalize? Great barrel in from Mimic, will protect him. He jumps in though, very deep under the tower. But everyone from Nerv has taken so much damage, lining up for the laser. Down goes Wicked, down goes Mimic. But the double kill out from Gap, and they will secure the tower and carry on pushing into the base. Yeah,
it's just unrelenting pressure right now. Nerv is fumbling, they're crumbling, they can't do anything, they can't react because they're not putting themselves in a position to react. They're all defending from the front, becoming prime targets here. It's honestly literally 5 dartboards put in prime position here for Forge, and they're executing beautifully.
They are connecting every single one of those darts, Krepo, as they look to close in for the kill. Momentum upset, trying to damn this to clear out this mini wave, but not sure how long it's going to last. Ica just take a bunch of poke from Caps, and they will back off for now.
Yeah, and Nerv need a complete 180 in terms of approach to the next few fights if they want to really beat this dart-based composition from Forge.
I like it. Dart-based composition. We managed to fit it all in on the end, and 4G will recall back to base. We esports. We sports. We finally made it. Mimic will go back into the top lane, clear out all this farm. Pad out his stats before this game ends. Very important. Just make sure you have more CS than your opponent as the game ends. 14-10 though. This has been a surprisingly bloody game. 38 minutes into this one.
Methodical from one side, reactive from the other.
Yeah.
Something we see very often in Challenger.
But at the same time, very impressed by Forge. This is not what I was expecting from them coming into the week. I was just expecting another just run at you composition. I mean, like, I was expecting the Karma, just not the Vel'Koz and the Varus coming out from Forge. So, excited to see them bust out something a little bit different.
Yeah, they're punishing a lot of these picks in terms of range advantage. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but let's just look at it. You know, Maokai, without flash, without a flank, very short range. He will never get in Twisted Advance range. Hecarim needs quite a bit of distance, you know, to maybe get a good ulti off. If you play at maximum poke range, it's not enough, so he needs to come in from an angle. Caps has shown that even a max range shuffle very often will get flashed, and him costing his life or trading his life for the play attempt. The only person that can really challenge some of this poke is Upset, but every Q he throws, he eats about 3 of them back in terms of damage, so he is rendered useless too. So 4G, if they avoid getting engaged or teleported upon, they're fine.
We are 40 minutes into this game, but it doesn't look like it's going to be lasting much longer.
Yeah, don't get married, Forge.
Yeah.
Don't get engaged.
Yeah, don't do that. This game will be ending very shortly. Wicked is he's trying to clear out the wave, but he is Maokai versus Super Minions, so that typically doesn't go well for the Maokai. But with Baron now on to Team Forge and those 4 dragons, looks like this will be ending fairly shortly. Just pushing in the top wave, kind of just the housekeeping at this point. Here comes the Tempered Fate. Through the goalposts. Wicked is going to come in, does not land a cocoon on top of him, just getting engaged down onto Taiki, but he's immediately going to repel. Momentum knocked into the team, great laser onto 2 players. No one's dead just yet. Upset and Caps both called off to the side, and Heaver and Gap will finish them off. Wicked into the back line, but what's a Maokai to do? Heaver and Gap will follow onto Caps, but he's going to be backing away. Just land some damage with the soldiers, and he's dead. Gap will line up the shot, take him down 3-0. Top tower goes down as well, and Forge will go right onto the Nexus turret. A very easy game 1 at the very end of this, over to 4G, taking it over Nerv.
Yeah, Nexus falls here. Forge just really methodical in their approach. They had some execution failures, you know, looking at the bot dive. Sometimes they were making plays that didn't involve the entirety of their team, but they learned. They adapted throughout the series. Like, let's go back to the early game. Aka was not involved in some of these plays where he was pushing down mid lane tower. They had the bot lane 3-man dive that should have been a 4-man with Aka. We saw Caps kind of, I think, buy into his own hypes, like guy that turned out on one play. Let's keep trying this, and he honestly misread his role within the team. He was secondary engage or zone peel, and he was acting as a primary engage function, and it doesn't work like that if you play Azir, or you need to be quicker than your opponent's reactions. Yeah,
both teams made mistakes, but I feel like Forge were better at capitalizing a lot of them. Okay, they had Heaver just by himself and just walk in and die, but then
they set themselves up for capitalizing on the enemy mistakes too, with vision, with the approach, with the correct objective in mind, as opposed to Nerv, who were just, felt closer to Solkyu.
It really did, and that's kind of to be expected though, because they drafted in 3 new players. Caps, Upset, Nukes a lot. We've seen them all on teams before in Challenger, but they're not like long-standing players, right? Like in the same way that Wicked is, and we've seen more from them in solo queue than anything else. So kind of to be expected from Nerv, but I don't feel like Nerv have really fixed a lot of the issues that they had even in the previous weeks.
Yeah, hopefully once this roster gels a bit together, they can find maybe one voice to lead them. And I think that's exactly what they require right now. Just one central guy, shot calling, saying, guys, this is exactly what we're going to do. I need you right there. You're flanking. This ward is what we need to get in place. Help me get this ward there. Something like that. Because once you play purely reactionary mode, like if you're locked up at your tower versus Pokemon, you can't get out.
Yep.
Like, even SKT can't make it out of that one.
Exactly.
SKT probably can make it out of that one. But it's all in a setup, you know. It's all about leaving yourselves options to react to some of these plays.
Exactly, and really just didn't react fast enough. Either way, we are going to take a short break while the team set up for the next game, so we will be back in just 3.5. Stick with us.
Cue challenging music.
He's going to go down. First blood over to the Virus. Gap is caught right in the middle of the rest of the team, and he's just going to go down. This has been disastrous from Team Forge. There's so much CC landing. This time, that's a good ultimate in from Mimic, and that will secure Wicked's death. Heaver going to pick up the kill there. And Caps is looking for the initiate. There's a laser coming out. Doesn't really tag anyone. He's going to get slammed into the wall by Memento. Taiki is separated from the team, but he will take down Caps and Memento. Great true shot barrage onto 3 players. Mimic will look for the re-engage. And good flash out by Mimic, followed up by the ultimate. Here comes a TP, maybe a little bit late though, out from Wicked. Gap's going to take down Caps. And New Slot was trying to retreat here. How much more CC do Forge have?